Hey there, and welcome to the DFS Build NBA Edition. I'm Kevin, and that is Taylor. We're going to walk you through the DraftKings main slate for NBA DFS on Monday. I know it's Monday Night Football, but guess what? I already pushed out a video for that, so go check it out at the end of this video, or just go to our YouTube channel page. If you want free advice, keep watching this video because it is 100% free. You can also check out our Discord, which is also free. If you want core plays for tonight and for any other slate that we do, hit up dfsbuild.com, just $5.99 a month to get all the things that we do over there. And if we do help you out here, hit the like button. Don't hit us. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Both those things help us out quite a bit. All right, the way we do this, we go team by team, looking at the game situations, the matchups, the projections, and ownership as it comes in, and just try to, go over which plays we actually like and how we're going to work against the field here. So first game, Bucks against the Wizards. They're on the road, yet they are 9.5-point favorites. The Washington's already down a key player with Alexander Sarr being out. Giannis is probable, but he's been kind of limited in his first two games back from his own injury. But he still looks good. Like 11.5K is expensive, but the Wizards are like the nuts matchup, and he comes in with the best projection of the slate. So why don't we start there? What's your interest level on Giannis?
High. I'm a little concerned because he was hurt, like you said, missed a couple weeks, I think. 28 in his first game back, 19 after that. I think that was the second half of a back-to-back, and it was a blowout, and it was the Nets. So need him really. It's about as good of a spot as you can get for Giannis. He's fully priced, essentially, but still think he can deliver. Just Washington is like against centers for like the last decade. It's been kind of something we stream every single night. So no issue with him. I suppose you can roll the dice on Miles Turner in like a large field, but not really my cup of tea generally. And then zero interest in any other Milwaukee piece on the slate.
Yeah, we need a random Giannis scratch to get excited about these guys. Like KPJ still limited. It's only his second game. The thing with Giannis that's interesting is that he did play 28 minutes in his first game back, and then he just wasn't needed against the Nets. And by the way, if people missed it, 62 fantasy points in 28 minutes, 45 fantasy points in 18 minutes. So like he is absolutely nuking. And this is yet another really fun matchup for further nuking. So I like Giannis a lot, especially if the ownership is going to stay in check. If people are scared about the minutes or the blowout or whatever, then I'll be very much over on Giannis. So I'm with you there. Nothing else to say because unless he's out, the other guys are just priced up a little bit too much. Certainly because it is the Wizards, you could entertain, like you said, Miles Turner. But his ceiling seems kind of capped when Giannis is around. On the other side, if you are going to pay for Giannis, you should have a little bit of interest in some Wizards, especially with Sarr out. We have the most obvious play, which is Marvin Bagley III. 3.5K should start. And then there's also Vucevic on the bench there at 3.3K. We were talking about this in Discord. Let's further that conversation. First, give your thoughts on Bagley.
It's tough because he started the last time he was healthy and Sarr was out, played 31 minutes against Minnesota. And then he got hurt in that game, and he has not played since. He was healthy for the last game and did not play. Vucevic played over him. So it's kind of a tough situation. This game does start at 7 Eastern, so we will have the news, but very good situation. The starter is going to feel safer. I don't think there's anything safe about either of them, of course, because of Marvin Bagley and Tristan Vucevic, but fine values, like they're going to pop into your lineups just because they're so cheap. They're starting. It's an okay matchup. And they're good per minute guys. So it's scary. Vucevic burned us all really badly last week in this situation without Bagley. So Bagley being active and available complicates it. But, whoever starts is going to be a pretty good play. And then whoever comes off the bench is also a decent tournament play.
Yeah, I was saying that in Discord. Like, on one hand, Bagley, I'm assuming ends up starting, and at 3.5K, it just feels like a don't get too cute thing. Just play Bagley and move on, But there is a path to him failing, and then that could lead to Vucevic having a pretty good game at 3.3K. And just in general, if people are going to be flocking to Bagley and he's going to be like 40% owned or something, Vuk's going to be unowned. So that is an interesting pivot for sure. Reserved for tournaments and not something I do a lot of, but something that I'm kind of interested in doing. That said, Bagley looks great. Assuming he
Only
starts.
starting.
The other guys
there's a chance Bagley does not play at all if he's coming off the bench. So you can potentially get a zero there, which is a little damaging, but not a safe play at all.
I'll give the resident Anthony Gill question. Any interest in Anthony Gill?
No, do not ever talk about Anthony Gill again.
I'm sorry. Somebody brought up in Discord one time, and you're like, "Fuck no."
Anthony Gill maybe has scored 20 fantasy points combined his entire career. I think he's abysmal.
Okay, so if we're playing Giannis, do you have interest in going beyond Bagley, or would you just want to keep it at Giannis Bagley? Because there's Keyshawn George, there's CJ McCollum, there's Bilal Coulibaly, and even a little bit of revenge narrative there with Chris Middleton. Any interest in those guys?
Yeah, I think they look pretty good. I think Middleton under 5K is interesting. He's an old man, but he still gets usage. He's still pretty good per minute. CJ is a little bit priced up. 6,600 is kind of on the higher end for him with Keyshawn there, so I don't love that. I do think George is a good play yet again. 6,300 without Sarr, he was like horrendous. I think it was the same game that Vucevic was horrendous, but good enough matchup, good enough price tag. So the Wizards in general look pretty appealing, which is nightmare material for me.
It feels weird, but this could be a game to avoid, actually, when it's all said and done. But if you're playing Giannis, you're going to want to have some interest there. Like, I think McCollum is a pretty interesting tournament play because George is picking up steam here with like almost 20% ownership. But both of them look pretty good. George is cheaper, so a little bit easier to get to, feels a little bit better. But I like them both a little bit. All right, Hawks against the Pistons. Jalen Johnson gets 70 fantasy points every night now, so there's that. This is a tougher matchup on the road. Obviously, he's got to deal with Jalen Duren and the Pistons defense, and it's away, and he just played yesterday in an overtime game. So I think there's a lot to not like.
Double OT.
Yeah, so there's a lot to not like there, but in terms of role, still no Porzingis here. There's a massive upside with Jalen Johnson. I do like him a lot. I just think there are other things to do. So if he gets steamed up, we can just go away from that and hope his ceiling dips a bit in this spot. Onyeka with no Porzingis, I feel like he's a little bit expensive now, but still very much in play. What did he get last game? Like 59? Like, he's been out of his mind. So at 6'7", it still feels a little bit expensive for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but the role and the ceiling are legit at this point. Dyson Daniels just a safe play. Reza Shea, like, okay value at 4.7. Not really that interested in anybody else. I suppose you can make a case for Muhammad Gay just because no Porzingis. Like, he's going to get a path to like 20 minutes here. What are you thinking about Jalen up top, and do you like any of these other Hawks?
No, I don't really like anyone at all on Atlanta. I think it's a brutal spot. Detroit protects the rim extremely well. They protect the paint extremely well. That's where Jalen Johnson does his damage. That's where Kongwu does his damage. So I think they're both kind of bad plays at their price tags on the second half of a back-to-back after double overtime. So, like, I see why they might project well, but I will be fading them or coming in like way under the field. I just don't think it's a good spot at all. Alexander Walker's okay. Like, on FanDuel, he's always kind of cheap, so I think that's doable over there. He's probably my favorite play from Atlanta, but that's not really like a ringing endorsement. I just think all around this team's kind of terrible today, unless they like rest a bunch of dudes, and then we'll get some value.
Yeah, I agree matchup wise. And if you also look at the spread, it is an 11-point spread in Detroit. With that in mind, like, are you a bit worried then to pay for Cade or Duren on this slate? Like, are you fearing the blowout? You just think it's gonna be like a sluggish game from the Hawks side, and then obviously that could impact the Pistons.
Yeah, it's a risk, but it's kind of a risk with every game on the slate. Like, Milwaukee could trash Washington, Cleveland could trash Indiana, right. The Clippers could get nuked by Miami. Charlotte, Brooklyn is a game, I guess, that probably won't be a blowout. But I'm not too concerned. I do think Cade and Duren are really good. Great spot for Duren. Issues, his minutes are kind of capped. Like he's been hovering around 30, but he's a little bit cheaper now. Really good spot. I like Cade a lot. Prefer Giannis, but I do prefer Cade to Harden if you're paying up for a guard.
Yeah, like in theory, just matchup wise, Cade looks pretty good here. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to play for the blowout or anything. I think if you want to play 10.5 Cade, that's fine. I think at that point, I might just go up and get Giannis. They both aren't really pulling that much ownership though, which is interesting. So definitely will be over the field where the ownership is currently on Cade. Duren just is a nice price. I don't like the minutes really, but nothing that scary about the matchup. Projection's fine. If he can get more minutes than what we're seeing here, then he could absolutely smash. Not really psyched about anybody else. I guess Duncan Robinson could miss and open up a little bit of value, but that's not anything that would excite me. And I would imagine you agree.
Yeah, they have a lot of bodies, like Ivy's there now, so not really into that.
Corpse of Ivy. All right, so Cleveland is a source of value and spend. They're in Indiana. They are actually 2.5 point underdogs at this point. The line moved, I think, because Darius Garland is missing on the second leg of a back-to-back set, and they're also without Lonzo Ball and Sam Merrill. So we talked about this too before we went live here. The value is very interesting with the Cavs. So first off, up top, we got Donovan Mitchell pushing 50 fantasy point projection. He's going to get some ownership. Evan Mobley's playing center these days with no Jared Allen in the lineup. So he just has a clear path to a double-double and a ton of rebounds and easy buckets. So his projection honestly feels a little bit light to me. The ownership tracks. So I like them both a good deal. But if that's where like all the ownership is going to go, I'm probably going to do something different. And between the two, if I had to pick one, it would be Mobley. But they look good. DeAndre Hunter is okay just because he's going to get a little bit of a boost here with no Garland. Then we're talking value. So why don't you offer your thoughts on the two spends here and which value you think stands out?
Yeah, I think it's just a better spot for Mobley. Like you said, playing center, Indiana centers are awful and small and not good. So I think like he's a smash. Donovan also, like he's shown a consistently higher ceiling than Mobley, but given the price tags, given the positional stuff, I think I prefer Mobley. But Mitchell is still a great play. Like I will probably have a lot of both of them. As far as the value, it's kind of limited. I think I'm really only getting to Tyson and Tomlin, assuming those are the starters. Like Tyson's still under 5K, guard forward eligible on DK. I like that a lot. Tomlin is a bit less exciting, but he is small forward, so that's helpful. 4,400 minutes should be fairly secure for him. So I do like him a lot, and then that's kind of it. I'm not really getting to Hunter. I'm not messing with Craig Porter on a minutes limit. Tyrese Proctor, no thank you. I think he's okay, but not like a guy I really want to get to. So it's mainly just like Tyson, Tomlin, and then the two stars.
Yeah, I want the ability to play Craig Porter Jr., but you were telling me that he missed 9 days with a hamstring, and then yesterday they played, and they only let him play 10 minutes. I do think it's possible that because they held him to only 10 minutes yesterday, that it's possible he gets extended a little bit more in this game. But obviously that is a risk, and I don't know if we really need to take that risk. Tyson at 4.8 does stand out for sure. Man, I wish we could use CPJ with any confidence. But the other guys just kind of eat into each other and don't really stand out for sure. All right, on the other side, Siakam's going to lead the way for the Pacers. Not really the best projection, not really the best matchup. So I'm not super psyched to pay 8.8K for him. I think I'd rather just go get Evan Mobley for $300 less. Benedict Mathurin's prices come up. Like he scores the ball okay, but he doesn't do much else. So that kind of sucks. So not really psyched to pay 7.2 for him either. I think it's just mostly going to be TJ McConnell off the bench and maybe Jay Huff again at 5K. Like his prices come up, but he keeps starting and getting 20 plus minutes. At this point, I don't think it's a really safe or high upside value, especially with a lot of value opening up on this slate. So I'm not really going to get there, but I think McConnell is still pretty doable at 4.8.
I think kind of a bad play, like especially if he's owned. Like there's other cheap stuff to like on the slate. He's still kind of capped off the bench. Like I think he hasn't played more than 25, maybe in a game all season. So not really sure there's a ceiling there. Great, bad matchup too. Huff is like fine, but he is pricey. It's just Indiana centers are very hard to trust. He's been like on the best consistent run we've seen of any of their bigs all season, but that's not saying much, and now he's expensive. So probably just rather get to the Wizards if I'm like bargain hunting at center, and I don't want to pay for anyone on Indiana for sure.
Yep, totally fair. All right, in what could be the game of the night, which feels gross, the Hornets are in Brooklyn. This game has a 5-point spread. If they ever want to extend LaMelo, that'd be great. At 8-6, he feels like a steal. I feel like this is a pretty good buy low spot. Like the Nets are not a good defense. This game could be close. And it does have, a ceiling in terms of, scoring upside. So like I'm game for taking a shot on 8.6K LaMelo and hoping this is the night he finally sees 30 plus minutes again. Miles Bridges is totally okay. Brandon Miller looks like a good mid-range guy at 6'4". Con Knipple at 6'6". He looks okay. Don't love the projections there, but I think like the players and the spot make them viable.
Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn's a bad defense, but they are good. The one thing they're good at is on-ball pick-and-roll ball handlers. And that's what LaMelo is going to be. They send double teams to them, essentially force catch and shoot, give it up around the rim. So bad spot for LaMelo. Don't like it. I like everything else, though. I like Brandon Miller a lot. Catch and shoot, 6,400. I think he's a very strong play. Knipple, kind of pricey for everyone back, but he's solid. Bridges is fine. Kalkbrenner's in a really good spot, 4,100. If you want to pivot away from the Wizard stuff, I think Kalkbrenner is a really strong one. And that's kind of it. I'm just kind of not really into LaMelo, but I like everybody else.
I mean, Diabate off the bench as a pivot away from Kalkbrenner if he gains steam. They both are pulling ownership, actually. So actually right now it's Diabate who's going to be more owned. So I would then lean your way with Kalkbrenner. I mean, the LaMelo thing, like you said the same thing about Maxey, and that ended up being pretty correct. LaMelo is just a price play. Like Maxey was like 10-4 when we had that conversation, right? So like when you throw in a not so great matchup on a slate where he's pulling ownership, I agree 100%. But if maybe because of price and the matchup we can get like unowned LaMelo here, that to me is interesting. What's your interest level of like pairing these value centers like Kalkbrenner and Bagley?
Yeah, I mean, I think even pairing the Wizards is viable. So I have no issue like two different.
That's a dicey game right there.
Yeah, but they're so cheap. They overlapped a little bit the one game they played together without Sar, so not it's full. But yeah, like you can certainly play Kalkbrenner with Bagley, whatever. Totally.
All right. On the other side, Nets MPJ is back after missing a couple of games. I think it's just a personal issue, so should not be any limitation or anything. He's not really owned, which is a little bit surprising for a pretty good spot at home. I like him a lot as a tournament play. If he's going to be 8% owned, I want all the MPJ personally. Nick Claxton's okay. Don't have a problem with him at all. Igor Demon, 4.4K as chalk. You talked about this in Discord as being a disconcerting situation. I think you can look at it both ways, man. Like on one hand, he's going to be mega chalk, and it's like feels very chasey because he's coming off like a 48 fantasy point outing. On the other hand, he's only 4.4K. He's going to get 30 minutes against the Hornets, and they are down like two key guards in the rotation. That seems like a pretty good spot. Like you don't need him to smash at 4.4. If he can get you 30 fantasy points, it's a win. So I like him a lot still, but I do agree with the logic in tournaments. Like if you can find somebody in that range, maybe even on his own team, perhaps that you can pivot to and feel reasonably good about, that's absolutely in play. And I'll let you talk about that one. But the other one is going to be Noah Clowney at 5.5. I still like him. It's not a bad spot against the Hornets. Still a good price. Coming off a brutal effort, which might keep his ownership down.
Issue with Clowney is when he starts with Porter and Claxton, he just kind of stands around and shoots threes.
That's true.
So he's priced up.
But he might hit him though.
Yeah, he could. I don't know. That's not something I really want to do at his 5.5. I think that's kind of too pricey. I do think Porter is a very strong play. I don't know why he's not owned, but Charlotte's like abysmal at everything essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So happy to play him like as a pivot from Mobley or someone like that. Tyrese Martin is the pivot from Dillon, I guess, for 200 less off the bench. Shooting eligible, which is useful. I get the Dioman thing, like with no man and no Thomas, there's just a lot of ball handling available with some extra usage, but He hasn't been great overall. He's been better lately. He is a rookie, so you can kind of expect that. But good spot. I see why he's owned, but look at the game. Like he said, one good game all season, basically. He's been decent
Right.
per minute.
Well, I mean, I'll take 31 or 32 for 4.4K. That's fine.
Yeah. But there's a floor of, 50. And gonna be owned.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Like, even against the Wizards, he only got 19 minutes and 15 fantasy points. But his minutes have been up lately, and it is the Hornets. Like, he's not running into the Knicks or the Raptors or something. I don't know. You could talk me either way. Like, he is in a great spot with a likely big role, but he's also not really that good in real life yet, consistently.
Yeah. He was a lottery pick. Like, he maybe is a
player. He's talented.
He's been decent per minute. He just hasn't been like super aggressive. Maybe he's getting confidence. He played well in the last game he played. So I'm fine with it. I'm probably going to play him a decent amount. I just like there's a lot of ways that can go wrong. So if you want to pivot off of that and eat the like Wizards chalk and fade Dioman, I totally get that.
Yeah, many paths to failure here. I do think, though, for this slate, he and Bagley both, they're probably going to be foundation pieces. Like, I'm probably just going to play them, assuming Bagley starts, like you said. All right, Bulls in Orlando. Orlando, for the most part, has played pretty fast on the year. Banchero being out, has changed things a little bit. And they have Suggs there, who can be a little bit of a pesky defender, or a lot of it. So that's a little bit challenging for me for Giddey, but there's no Kobe White here. So there is a ceiling to be had for Giddey and the rest of the Bulls if this game can stay close. Really nice total, but Magic are coming in with a 9-point spread as the home favorites. I'm not really getting here, except for maybe Ayo Dosunmu, because he's cheap and he's easy to fit in with shooting guard, small forward eligibility. I don't even love him that much as a play, but I think he's cheap enough, and Kobe being out gives me enough wiggle room that, like, right now he's like the bull that I'm playing. I mean, if you want to play Giddey at no ownership, I'm all for that. I just don't. I'm just not getting there right now.
Yeah, kind of a good spot for Chicago. Like, I don't love Vooch. Orlando's decent defensively around the rim. He does have revenge, though, so maybe he's like extra vengeful against the Magic.
But
like 10 years
how
later.
many times over has he's been back to Orlando before? Is he still that vengeful? Maybe he score 40 points against the team that traded me 5 years ago
for Wendell Carter. So double revenge.
No, they both.
There.
That's also not true revenge, though. They can't be that mad.
It's true revenge for Vooch in Orlando.
It is true revenge. Okay, how many times has he been back to Orlando? I need to know. It's got to be at least like 3-4 times.
More than that. He's been in Chicago for quite.
He's been in Chicago for a long time. He's been in Chicago since I moved from Florida. I feel like it's been like 8 years.
Yeah,
maybe not that many, but still.
Anyways, a long time ago.
Hey, he's not even 8K. Like, I actually do not hate Vooch in a vacuum against Wendell Carter. I don't hate it at 7.8K. But the only guy I really like here is Ayo or paying for Giddey, just because he has no ownership. Like, Giddey has a massive ceiling. So if nobody wants to play Giddey and they're all playing Spida and Evan Mobley and stuff like that, then I like Giddey for sure. But the one that stands out is going to be Dosunmu, just because he's a good value.
I like Giddey a little, like if you're playing Magic, which you probably are on the slate, since they're in a really good spot. Running it back with Ayo or Giddey, even pivots from Ayo. Like if Ayo gains steam, Kevin Huerter's not that different. Trey Jones is not that different. They're all in the same price range. So I like these pivots a little bit too. But yeah, Ayo overall is probably the easiest guy to get to, just not in a very comfortable play if he's chalk.
That's true. I don't know if the ownership is on him right now. Right now, there's no Bulls getting owned, so we'll see where that lies. On the other side, like you said, I mean, you kind of want to get to the Magic, but Suggs is like egregiously owned right now. I know he's coming with a pretty good projection, but he's 7K. Like, I know it's the Bulls, but he's 7K. Franz has not really done anything without Banchero for whatever reason. Maybe because Suggs and Desmond Bane were like, "Hey, we don't suck. We're going to play well." And then Franz is like, "Oh, okay." He just doesn't do anything. Look at his game log. There's one spike game, if it's ever going to load. Look at this shit. He doesn't do anything. So, in theory, the Bulls are terrible in the paint defensively, right? In theory, Franz Wagner should be able to feast in this spot. So I do like him for that reason alone, based off of, potential usage and matchup. And then there's Bane, who nuked last game, 55 fantasy points. And of course, Suggs does project like a god. So I'm not really that excited to do it if everybody else is going to do it. Like, that would get me off of it very quickly. But where do you stand on the Magic?
Yeah, it is the best spot for Franz. He's expensive. He's not expensive on FanDuel. I think he's like under 8K, but 8,700 is kind of rich. It is like the perfect matchup for him. I think I played him in this spot last time and he got like 29, but Banchero was there for what it's worth. So I do think he's very good. I'd rather play him than Suggs or Bane, especially if, like you said, Suggs is like super chalk on this slate, which is kind of shaky.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's cheap. It's not like he plays a ton of minutes. So don't mind getting away from that. Bane, also expensive. I don't feel good about that. It's a good spot for all of them. I think Franz is the one I like the most. Carter's okay, like permanently 5-5, permanently getting you like 30, which is okay, but
revenge.
Not that exciting at the same time.
Yeah, I think, you broke it down perfectly, man. Like, I think in a vacuum, when you look at the Bulls and they're at home, you look at the game total, you can certainly play all three of those main guys, Wagner, Bane, and Suggs, and I can't really fault you for it. But when you factor in ownership, I do not like Suggs. I'm souring on Bane because of the price as well. And the only one I really, really like is Wagner. And that's if he ever had a ceiling, and he just does not for some reason. So he'll probably do it tonight, now that I'm kind of souring on a little bit. Hey, Goga was kind of popping too. Do you have any interest? I feel like every time Goga's on the board, you have a little bit of interest because he's only 3.7K and the Bulls don't stop you inside at all. Like, what if Wendell gets in foul trouble? What if this game blows out? There's some paths to Goga being a pretty good value at 3.7.
Yeah, I just think you have Kalkbrenner, you got the Wizards. There's just no real need to like walk the plank with Goga, even on this slate.
Yeah, actually, whoa, I just saw his ownership. If he's actually going to be owned, why would we do that?
He won't be. Like, there's no, like, I don't know if they've updated. Like, the Wizards have to be.
No, it couldn't be. That
more,
whatever ownership he's getting is going to go over to Bagley anyways. So, yeah. But, hey, if you don't want Bagley and you don't want to mess with the Wizards, a pivot to Goga, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think it's a good spot, obviously. All right, Clippers and Miami. Speaking of good spots, Miami plays extremely fast. So the Clippers look pretty good. Kawhi's still limited, but at 7-8, you can certainly take a shot. Looks like he's going to be getting some more minutes here. Zubac, I don't really want to play him against Bam necessarily. I just never like playing centers against Bam. I don't think he's a bad play based off of his price, but I think he's probably got a bit of a capped ceiling here. James Harden is the play if you're going to target anybody on the Clippers. A little bit expensive, almost 10K, but he's got the second best projection of the slate, I think, or close to it. So if you want to play Harden, that's fine. I guess I'm just not currently getting there because I feel like I'm kind of gravitating more towards, some of the other guys we already talked about.
Yeah, I have him as a core play on DK just because he was kind of popping into every lineup, but that was before the Cleveland stuff happened, so I'm probably going to fix that. It's also a pretty bad spot. I'm getting trolled, and I deserve it, and he probably will be
your most rostered player again.
Yeah, that was
maybe
pretty painful.
Only maybe.
He probably will because I'm quite sick. But I think Harden is like, it's not a good spot for the Clippers at all. They play slow. Heat play fast, but they are very good defensively still in the half court at least. So Harden's priced up, going to be chalky. I'm not like enthralled with it. I think it is the best spot for Kawhi because Miami will give up catch and shoot. And that's kind of his role with Harden out there. So I think Kawhi's interesting. Bad spot for Zoo. I guess you can talk me into John Collins as a catch and shoot guy as well, but not thrilled overall.
Yeah, when I first looked at the slate this morning before any of the value opened up, I was also liking Harden just because of the game environment, but I'm kind of getting away from it. Hey, if the game is fast and close, Harden could smash, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't think I'm going to do it personally. I think unowned Giddey as a pivot away from potentially own Harden. I think that's pretty interesting. Bam Bam leads the way for the Heat. I also don't love targeting centers against Zubac. He's a pretty good defender. So not easy to get buckets and rebounds against him. So I just feel like they're fine. They'll get you like maybe around 40 fantasy points, but I feel like their ceilings are kind of capped unless we get like a crazy game here. Tyler Hero, not as limited as he was. I think he's okay. at 8K, especially if he's not going to be owned. It doesn't look like he will be. Norm Powell, revenge. Now, this is actually closer to revenge than any of the other ones we discussed because I don't think he's faced the Clippers yet. He just played there last year, obviously. He's a little pricey, though. So if you want to play the revenge thing, fine. If you want to take advantage of a kind of low-owned hero or Bam, that's fine. I don't see anybody here that I have to play.
Yeah, the Heat don't like project well because they're all priced up. Hero's back pretty close to full minutes. They did actually play the Clippers. I was looking at this last month in LA. But the Clippers are bad, like a horrible defense.
How vengeful
horrible
was
transition.
Norm? That's all we care
was
about.
21 points in 28 minutes.
Not that vengeful.
Norm Powell.
He didn't care. He didn't care that much.
I think it might have been a back-to-back. Maybe he was a little fatigued. I don't know. But good spot for the Heat. Like, they're not popping, but they're, the Clippers are awful defensively. They're awful in transition. The Heat do their damage in transition. So it is an awesome spot for Powell. It's an awesome spot for Hero. It's an awesome spot for Wiggins. Awesome spot for Jaquez if he's in. It's admittedly tough to jam them in, just given the price tags, but I would like to do that if I can. Probably still not going to play more than one of them in a lineup just because of the way the slate kind of sets up. But overall, I think this is a spot I want to get to that the field's not really getting on.
Yeah, I'm warming up to Hero a little bit. I feel like the projection feels a little bit light. So that would probably be where I start. But so far, it has not been a game I've gotten to a lot, which does scare me a little bit just because of the high total and if it stays close. So we'll see, we'll see what happens. The big thing is going to be like who ends up starting in some of these value situations, like namely Bagley. If Bagley does not start, that complicates matters quite a bit. If he does, I think he's probably an easy click. And then the other big decision point is going to be, do we pay all the way up for Giannis or not? Before we sign off here, if you had to do a flag plant for one stud, who is your top stud to build around on the slate?
I think it has to be Giannis just because it's the Wizards and he's like having this phenomenal season without Dame on the team anymore. So probably him, but minutes are kind of shaky. I don't mind the Cleveland stuff. Like Mobley's in an awesome spot of his own. Giddey also, I think, is sneaky along with Franz Wagner if he's really going to be low owned.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. The only thing I'll add, I think you kind of said it already. Michael Porter Jr. feels very overlooked. He's not cheap, 8.4K, but I think him as a pivot away from Mobley is something fun. Well, fun is a relative term, is it not? But I do think he's interesting. But yeah, Giannis is obviously the top stud to build around. The only issue is going to be blowout risk, and if he is further limited than what we've already seen. All right, that is going to do it for us. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit. If you want finalized core plays, Taylor has those today over at dfsbuild.com, just $5.99 a month to catch those. If you're already a member over there, we thank you for that. We also hope you can join us in Discord. If you're not in Discord already, that is 100% free. And if you want more videos like this, turn on your notifications, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and good luck.